It's high summer, and what better activity than to play and build indoors with Legos? Seriously, what's better? So, in the spirit of that, let's go over my favorite adult Lego kits. Not that kind of adult, you poet. I'm a big fan of Legos. I have everything from R2-D2 to Batman to an NES and Jurassic Park. Welcome to my channel. This is Peter's Nerd Cave, where we talk about anything fun and nerdy. Let's start with number 10, Horizon Forbidden West. The original Horizon Zero Dawn was one of my favorite all-time video games. For those uninitiated among us, in a world overrun with robot dinosaurs, yes, you heard that correctly, you play as Aloy, trying to survive in this lush wasteland. I didn't even know if those two words go together, but I'm sticking with it. She's trying to uncover her past and figure out what it has to do with the downfall of humanity and the onset of the apocalypse, and the rise of the robot dinosaurs. Love saying that. If you play the game, this scene will be a familiar one. We see the regal Tallneck slowly plodding forwards, while the Watcher is biding his time in the shrubbery, waiting for his chance to pounce. Aloy is getting ready to scale the Tallneck and seems to be unaware of the Watcher behind her. This set shows a cool little apocalyptic setting and shows the atmosphere of the game quite well. And that's why it's on number 10. Take it from robot dinos to real-life extinct dinosaurs with Jurassic Park T-Rex outbreak. And I'm just going to assume that everybody's seen this movie, because come on, this is such a classic. If not, turn this video off and go see this movie right now, you heathen. Now that you've seen this movie, you'll recognize the scene, the T-Rex with one of its claws on top of the turned over car looming over Alan Grant, who's trying to draw it away from the little kids, Lex and Tim, that are hiding behind the car, while Malcolm sits in the car perplexed that he was right and called it. Great little details bring this scene to life, like the front tire that's been ripped off by the T-Rex, the broken fence, and the night vision goggles on Tim's head. There's even a little cup of water in one of the Jeeps. All in all, this is a great kit, a well-deserved number 9. The next one up needs no introduction for the older crowd. For the youngsters among us, they're probably wondering what this blocky contraption is. Well, my friends, this is an NES, or the Nintendo Entertainment System. This is where it all started for Nintendo, and for me, for that matter. This was my first video game console, and I've spent hours playing this very Mario game you see depicted here. Classics like The Legend of Zelda, Mario, Donkey Kong, and Metroid all started on this very console. Check it out, it even moves. How awesome is that? And it even comes with a Mario cartridge. Like the real-life counterparts, it's starting to show its age and it doesn't always work, but that's alright. That gives it character. Then we move from indoor entertainment to outdoor entertainment with this beautiful treehouse. As far as I can tell, there's no affiliation or branding going on with this one. It's just a treehouse that's inspired by the Swiss Family Robinson. You might wonder why it's so high up on this list, or in the top 10 at all. And let me tell you, I've always wanted a treehouse, especially something like this. And this might be the closest I'll ever get, especially one as magnificent as this one. Look at all the little details. There are 3 rooms up in the tree, 2 bedrooms with enough space for 4 people, and a little bathroom. It even has a makeshift toilet. Check out those details. I'd sell my house in a heartbeat if my wife would let me. Under the tree is a little eating area with some edibles on the table and a little rope swing next to it. I always dreamt of something like this as a kid, but I never got there, and that's why I wanted this Lego treehouse. It's super cool, and that's why it's on number 7. Next up, I'm a big fan of anything spooky, creepy, haunting, chilling, you name it. Halloween is my favorite holiday, and you can wake me up any night for a good horror movie. And in keeping with that, on number 6, we have the Haunted Mansion, Manor von Baron. Clearly, this haunted mansion is inspired by the Disney Mansion with its gothic features and haunting visages. Look at this kid, it's a thing of beauty. The mansion turned out the way it did, courtesy of Samuel von Baron, collector of the occult, strange and unexplained. When we enter, we see haunted paintings, hanging skeletons, unexplained visages, and hair-raising visions. On top of it all, or at the bottom, is a free-falling elevator. Aside from the creepy, I'm also a big fan of Harry Potter. What better to put on number 5 than the Harry Potter Icons Collector's Edition? I'm not going to rehash what makes these movies so great, but let's all just agree that Hermione is the badass of the game, okay? Really very little needs to be said about this kid. Look at all this cool stuff. A beautiful lifelike replica of Hedwig is cruising down with Harry's acceptance letter in its paws. Beside her floats the golden snitch. Beneath it all are Harry's glasses, a wand, some books, and of course Riddle's diary. Then for those of us who need some help in the luck department, we have Felix Felicis with some other magic potions right next to it. This kid is right up my Diagon alley. In keeping with the creepy and the spooky, we're off to the next one with Ghostbusters. I grew up with this one, and who doesn't remember the awesome siren the Ecto 1 had? Like with the treehouse, if I could own this car, I'd be a happy man. When I was little, I was glued to the TV every Saturday morning trying to catch the real Ghostbusters on TV. I gotta say though, for a kid that show was pretty creepy. I remember having nightmares about weird chickens for weeks. But right on seeing those creepy beady red eyes and those teeth. Anyway, this relatively small kid shows the 4 Ghostbusters and the Ecto 1, which is arguably the most important character of both the movie and the show. Besides all this kid has a lot of emotional value because it was the first kid I built with my daughter. You know who could use some ghostbusting? Those kids from Stranger Things. If the Ghostbusters cartoon was my favorite kids show, the Stranger Things is my adult guilty pleasure. This show is amazing. If you haven't watched it yet, do yourself a favor and put it on your watch list. The 80s vibe, the mystery, the cast, it's all amazing. It's very well done. Usually I'm not a big fan of an all-kid cast, but they've really pulled it off with this one. Season 1 is still my favorite. The mysterious vibe that Season 1 had is so amazing. And who or what is 11? The Force is certainly strong with this one. And what are all these government agents doing in a tiny town like Hawk? The kid is awesome. And that's both the normal world and the upside down, hanging upside down if you can believe it. It's an awesome design and you can even flip it around. Again, so many awesome little details that bring this kid to life in and outside of the house. There are the communication lights that Joyce uses to communicate with Will when he's in the upside down. There's Hopper's Jeep, which stays suspended when you flip the kid upside down. And then there's of course Will and the Demogorgon in the upside down itself. If there's another theme that's going on in this top 10 besides creepy and spooky, then it's the 80s and 90s vibe. And that's what I'm going with this next one. And I present to you Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. Maybe I'm looking at the world through nostalgia glasses, but the 80s and 90s certainly seem to have a lot of amazing movies and shows. And this one is no exception. Arguably, this is one of the greatest movies of all time, but, you know, I'll leave that up to you guys. I cannot count how many times I've watched and rewatched this movie. And this kid perfectly recreates the first and maybe coolest scene of this movie. Look at this temple and all of its moving parts. We see Indiana carefully swapping out the statue with a bag of sand while light gleams down from cracks through the wall. The statue sinks, and seconds later, the wall behind Indiana comes crashing down. He rolls out of the way, looks behind him, and sees another wall closing slowly. Without a moment's notice, he leaps over the gap and dives under the wall. In the process, his head comes off, which he just manages to grab before the wall crushes one of his extremities. No time to rest, however, as a giant boulder starts to move above him. Such an awesome kid. Then, the cream of the crop. The creme de la creme. Spider-Man, the Daily Bugle. I have no special relationship or anything like that with Spider-Man and its franchise. I like it as much as the next guy. That means that this kit is totally up there on its own merits. The details really are staggering. Here, feast your eyes. Look at the sheer amount of minifigures. There are bad guys, good guys, innocent bystanders. Like they said in Smash, everybody's here. Punisher's battling it out with Carnage, while the Sandman blasts out of the pavement beside him. Up top, the Green Goblin shoots out of the building, raining down debris and glass all over the innocent bystanders. Bystanders cower in fear as Blade and Cat fight against Venom in the busy street. There are 5 different Spider-Mans in this kit, including Spider-Man, you could have guessed, Miles Morales, Spider-Gwen, and Spider-Ham. A grand total of 25 minifigures in this kit. That's freaking crazy. I really can't stop gushing about it, and that's why it's on number 1. If you can still find it, buy it. It's worth it. And with that, I'm wrapping it all up. I hope you liked this little insight into my life and my Legos. Let me know what kits you have and what your favorites are. And if you like what you saw, subscribe and maybe leave a like or something like that. I hope to see you on the next one.